One thing I did want to do was just put that down for you guys. So we'll create new room, friends only. Bop is on. One real, and we got group 3. Racing hard tires. No penalties. Let's go. Okay. So yep, we are in the Huracan. Go to track. So once again, we'll start off on cockpit view. And yeah, you barely, I mean, there's definitely resistance in the wheel, but this is something, you know, probably my grandma could do. There isn't a lot of strength behind it. And then just already, you see we've already lost the car. It's the car just turns a lot more. Now, this is one of the corners where it's probably most challenging into Pahun. As you can see, you're just very tentative to attack at all. You see, there it goes. As soon as I try to take a little bit more of an aggressive approach, not even an aggressive approach, just an approach where it's how you would drive the car if you want to get a good lap time. Straight away, the over-rotation happens. You see, Blachimon is easy flat. I could probably do it, you know, with 1 or 2 fingers. And once again, over rotation into the slow corner. The one real immediate difference that I noticed when coming into GT7 with the MRs is they have so much traction. I rouge easily flat in this game. It's not really a challenge at all. Now with the new braking patch, we can brake quite late here. Although maybe not that late. See, it's just quite crazy. Tends to be anytime there's a sequence of corners where you're having to turn the car in, like shift the weight of the car in multiple directions in a quick succession, or any corners where the car going into the corner is imbalanced because of the undulation of the track. So you'll see in that right-hander before Pahun and then Pahun itself. I think perhaps this game, with the grip of the cars, maybe it's like very reliant on the downforce. And so if anything is upsetting that downforce, there's just not the mechanical grip through the suspension. So I'm not even trying to attack that corner, and the car wants to turn on me. Any kind of like slow corner or undulating cambered corner. And yet for the quick, the high downforce stuff like this, it's no problem at all. Like on turn-in for Pahun, I don't think I've ever spun in GT Sport there. I've never spun in a Assetto Corsa there. And yeah, on GT7, it's almost every lap that the car will become unstable there. You try and correct it, and it just snaps back on you. Let's try this one-handed. Easy. This feels so awful in the slow corners. And actually, after the handling patch, so does the McLaren. The McLaren never really had an issue. And now after the handling patch, the McLaren is so awful through there, along with its MR brethren. So let's see if we can put together at least one lap without spinning, and so at least we can compare the lap time, and then we'll switch over to bumper view. so horrible in that corner. And then this one coming up. So this is how slow we're going to take it, just to get through it. No downshift even. I mean, one thing that definitely has been fixed since the release of the game is that curbs no longer spin you out. So that's one little bit of progress that Polyphonic has made. So about 3 seconds slower than what we were in Sport. Oh, there's definitely more grip in GT7 than in GT Sport. Like in terms of certain corners, are very easily flat in this game, like Eau Rouge, which you just saw then. The problem is more about how the car reacts, I think, to your steering input, rather than any kind of like lack of grip in the game. Maybe it's even that there's too much grip, I don't know. Oh yeah, definitely. So you can see that we're able to go a lot quicker with the bumper view. So 2 minute 23.4. But now I'm just going to switch over to a car, to one of the FRs, which, especially since the handling patch, are just completely OP now. So be prepared to see a lot of purple sectors coming up. Take me a little while to get used to driving this car again. downshifted the first lap. Again, very easily flat through Blanchimont. But you just see how much more stable the FR car is through these slow speed corners. There's like zero problem with driving them. Of course, commentator's curse, right? Last night when I was testing this car at Eau Rouge, it was able to go through pretty comfortably flat. Yeah, it's very funny, isn't it? But to be fair, the stability I'm talking about is the like turn-in stability. Like I said earlier, one of my initial surprises with this game was how much traction the MRs actually have on throttle at the corner exit, which is kind of the opposite as to what they were like in GT Sport. In GT Sport, you had to be quite careful on the throttle with the MRs, but now it's basically as soon as they're gripped up after the apex, you can go full throttle with them, which is somewhat now the case for these FRs as well. But as you saw at Eau Rouge there, sorry, at La Source there, you still do need to have a little bit of throttle control for some of these FRs. Yeah, I wonder how much of this game's like problems is because of controller support. But then you can already see from our session times we're 1.6 seconds up on the Huracan time. There we go, easy flat, even riding the curbs. So this should easily be another second, I'd say. 1.7 seconds from two corners, essentially. It's the balance of power for you. So we're on pace here to smash the Huracan time by probably about 3 seconds, depending on how well we hook up the bus stop. There you go, 2:19.6. Alright, so one more test that I want to do. It'll still be on GT7. Let's see. So I'm going to send that screen capture that I took of the settings to myself and compare it to what the default settings are on GT7 for the Huracan. Alright, so let's change car, Huracan. After the update, they've increased the steering sensitivity on controller from 7-10. So they just, like, they added 8, 9, and 10? Like it used to only go up to 7, and now it goes up to 10? Is that what you mean? I saw something about that, but because I don't use controller, I didn't really pay much attention to it. Alright, so car settings. Let's take a look. So, I've got my phone here. I'll open up the PlayStation app. Pictures on the PlayStation app was really slow to load, which is a little bit frustrating. I think that's like that because I didn't... Actually, are they different than... So it was 60-70, right? Oh, interesting. So the BOP settings are different than the default settings for the Lambo. But anyway, let's compare. So in GT Sport, it was body height 70-80, so difference there. Anti-roll was 7 and 4. Damping ratio was 55-55 for compression, 85-85 for rebound, or expansion, I guess you'd call it in this one. So very, very different there. The natural frequency was 3 compared to 3.5. Negative camber was 3 and 3, so that's the same. Toe angle was 0.25 out compared to 0.10, and in 0.50 compared to 0.20. So then initial torque was 1040-30 compared to 1540-50. So a lot different there. The downforce was 350 and 730 compared to 430 and 590. So completely different numbers there. Yeah, that's really interesting. Obviously the ECU, whatever, ballast, no. All right, so the gearing, I mean, this is probably a little bit less important. 2786, 2125, so a little bit different there, but the same speed. 1.722, yep. 1.440, 1.211, 1.024. So those are all the same. Final gear 3.5, yes, same. But interestingly enough, same gearing. However, the horsepower. So on GT Sport, it was 536 and 1,291. So same weight, but in GT7, significantly less power. And I do know that in the most recent patch, they did just decrease the power on the Lamborghini a little bit, I believe. So now what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to set up another room, and this time I'm going to allow tuning settings, and I'm going to apply the same settings that we had in GT Sport to the Huracan, and we'll see if it makes any difference to the handling. Alright, so tuning will be able to be no limit, boost off, slipstream real, we'll keep damage off, we'll put tire wear and fuel back onto 1, real, filter by category, group 3, no limit, racing tires, just the hards, and we'll keep the penalties off for now as well. So I really do wonder how much difference this is going to make. So car settings, let's go. So 70 and 80 for the ride height. I'll keep an eye on the PP as well. I mean, not that I really think it matters, but just out of curiosity. Watch the PP. So we've got 7 and 4. Natural frequency should be 3 and 3. Compression 55, 55. So it doesn't even go up that high, but we'll put it to the 40s. Rebound 85 and 85. Again, doesn't go that stiff, so that's interesting. The camber was 3.3. Sorry, no. Camber, where is it? Yeah, camber 3 and 3. Toe out 0 to 5, quite different. And in 0.50. Oh, very, very different there. Downforce 357.30. So it doesn't go that low. Downforce 730 doesn't go that high. Interesting. 1040.30 for the .40.30. And of course, we're not able to really adjust the ballast positioning, etc. So we'll just leave that as it is for now. Transmission was the same. Alright. Let's go out and see how different this is. What we might do is, I guess the bop is on, so we won't be able to, let me just confirm that they stayed like that. So when I entered, it applies the bop setting, so we need to change all these again, unfortunately. So 70, 80, natural frequency, 3, 3, anti-roll bar, 7 and 4. Compression 55, 55, so we'll go max. Expansion 85, 85, so once again we'll go max. I'd have to check in GT Sport settings as to whether like 85 was maximum on that game or not. The camber 3 and 3, yep. Toe out 025, in 050. And the LSD 10 40 30. Downforce 350, 730. Alright, let me just double check that that's actually applied itself. Yep. Okay, so now Rouge still easily flat. Definitely slower down the straight with that extra downforce. Still a lot of problems with rotation though, it looks like. Yeah, see, as soon as you turn in to that downhill left, the car just goes. Yeah, ice would be a nice way of putting it. I hope you mean my the driving on the track and not that I look like a meth addict. So I'm tempted to say here that duplicating the settings from GT Sport as closely as we can doesn't work for fixing the handling of this car. God, it's so slow on the straights as well. I mean, granted I do have a 5 meter per second headwind, but still. Yeah, well, yeah. I don't really know what was the cause for the delay. If they delayed it because they wanted to do the GT4 version. Obviously, with the shortage of PlayStation 5s throughout the world, it just wouldn't have been financially viable for them to only release this on PlayStation 5. You can see from just when you do the daily races as a PlayStation 5 player, there's so few people on it. So there's just not a lot of people out there who have this game for PlayStation 5. So as potentially limiting as what having to have this game run on the PlayStation 4 may have done to the game in terms of number of cars on track or the graphics, etc., etc. I 100% understand their viewpoint, and I don't think it was anything they could have really done about it. Otherwise, they're just going to be making they would have poured millions and millions of dollars into making a game which only a handful of people had. So, one more thing to try. Maybe, because ballast wasn't okay, you can't change the ballast anyway when you've got BOP on, so it doesn't really change anything then. Well, I have to say the verdict is that the 1.13 patch has not fixed the MRs. The handling on them is still treacherous. And going back and playing GT Sport today was absolutely thrilling. Like, the game is... GT Sport, the force feedback from the DD Pro in GT Sport is just so much better. And the way that the MR cars at least handles is just actually so much more enjoyable. But next, I'm going to load up a new stream and just do a few laps on Assetto Corsa in the same car, same track. So we can just have a little bit of a comparison there. So I'll be right back on a new stream in a couple of minutes, guys.